All right, welcome back to All Hitches Live. Coach Dash and Coach Mason.
Well, how are you
doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I have the chat up. So
All is good, man. All is good.
Yeah.
It's always sunny in Philadelphia, and it's never boring in Northern Virginia.
What are you talking about? It's been a really boring week. I mean, there's been no kind of news, either sports or political. I believe it's been kind of a dry week this week, right?
I'm trying to think of name. People have been talking about the soap opera that is right now, and it's like I had Days of Our Hawks. I kind of like that one. I was trying to. It just flows, but I was just trying to think of a good name for the soap opera.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Like sands in an hourglass.
I was just excited to see that prime rib is currently on sale starting next week for Thanksgiving holiday.
I'm a prime rib son of a gun. I got MRIs and doctor's bills to prove it, cholesterol medication to prove it, buddy. You know I'm a prime rib guy.
I make the prime rib, and I use my Traeger to make it.
Smoked prime rib.
Smoke in there, yeah.
There's a restaurant over in Tyson's. I forgot the name of it. It's a simple name.
Yeah.
Their specialty. God, I went there for my birthday a couple years ago. But they do. That's what they do. They do smoked prime rib.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal.
Now I bought this year because I have like rock. I have some rock walkways in there and like weeds become a problem. So I bought this little flamethrower thing. Now, I was thinking about this year searing it before I put it in, searing the outside to get all the juices
with the flamethrower.
With the flamethrower, yes.
The All Hitches flamethrower, very popular with the children.
The All Hitches flamethrower.
That's Spaceballs. Very popular with the children. And Spaceballs the flamethrower. Come on.
The All Hitches flamethrower. But yeah, so I thought about doing that. Just searing all the juices so when it cooks. Oh man,
that is fantastic. You can make some good creme brulee too, buddy.
Creme brulee, yeah.
I love anything, any kind of custard pudding. I love that stuff.
You know what? I can't. I've got to say, I'm not a big fan of creme brulee.
You son of a gun. Broke my heart. From ending, disbanding everything. Well, man, I mean, I don't even know where to start. I mean, this is obviously our normal show where we do our breakdowns, and we are going to do our breakdowns of all the games. We saw the latest headline.
Is there other news? I was unaware.
Well, we saw the latest headline, and we're gonna backtrack a minute. But I did want to just say we're going live. We saw the latest headline, and we were like, we were getting ready to record our regular show, which was not going to be live. And we looked at each other and said, let's just go live. Now, there might be a meeting in Gatehouse right now.
According to that last article that came out just maybe 20 minutes ago.
I feel like if I was some of these people involved in some of these stories, I'd call up one of these people and be like, hey, we're meeting with the president, and I feel like some of these journalists are just running with anything that they're told right at this point. Now, I'm not saying it's all believable. It's all true.
Yeah.
But, like, I'd probably have some fun with it if I was some of these people involved. Because it's just gotten so out of hand and so crazy.
Oh, I mean, it's just wild. You and I were talking, and I don't think – we knew things could get weird, right? With this whole thing. We knew that things could possibly get weird with all this. But we had no idea. Like, it was going to turn to this.
Right.
I mean, this thing is – I would call it a dumpster fire, but at this point, I think it would be an insult to dumpster fires.
Yeah, I mean, well, what the thing is, when you start talking about, well, let's rewind, right? Let's rewind for people who don't know. Okay, and I guess we're gonna have to start somewhere, and we're gonna start just after the court hearing on Friday, right?
Right.
For people who don't know, Hayfield wasn't going to play in the game, right, this weekend. Everybody had moved up. Robinson was now the 8th seed. I think people who were involved in the story know that part of the story.
Yeah.
And then I guess they were granted, I don't know the correct terms, they were granted a stay or whatever it is, however it worked.
An injunction on the ruling. Yeah, I think.
Right. So they'll have a hearing down the road, December 4th, as we found out.
Yeah.
But then they were reinstated.
Right.
So then everyone was bumped back down again. Hayfield in the 1 spot, Braddock back to 2, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Robinson went from 8 back to 9.
Yeah.
And here we are. The games were going to be decided to play Thursday, which is,
2 days.
Day after tomorrow. Today's Tuesday, but today's Tuesday night.
Yeah.
It's going to be played on Thursday. And then the next round on Saturday.
Right.
And that's kind of where we kind of left off.
Yeah.
All right. And you want to kind of catch us up?
When last we saw our heroes.
Yes, that's kind of where things were. Everyone was getting ready for the Thursday game, which you and I were really excited about. Everyone's really excited about. What game people were asking where we're going. I was leaning West Springfield personally. We were some really good games.
We were going to do multiple shows. We were going to do a Friday recap, then a Saturday recap.
Yes.
And then
I was thinking you were about to say we were going to go multiple a la WrestleMania 2. You'd be in Chicago. I'd be in LA watching King Kong Bundy. That's where I thought you were going with this.
We could have done that too.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
But that's where we left off. We were excited about the Thursday football games where Region C was going to be playing finally.
Right.
And then, you want to go ahead and take it from there?
And then yesterday we were told that, and this wasn't a secret. It wasn't like we got inside sources. We heard from multiple places. They were like, hey, did you hear they're having a meeting? They're having meetings. There was a meeting held, I guess, among the coaches. And then those coaches, in turn, had meetings with their
parents and players. That's what we kind of gathered.
And then we got a letter that apparently I think they sent to the media because I actually heard there was a letter, and then
Fairfax Times had the letter, and then CBS. Now it's all over.
And saying that just talking about again the accusations against Hayfield, and that they would take actions up to forfeiting in the playoffs.
Right. And
it was signed by 6 coaches. 6 of the 7 coaches from the playoffs signed it. And so, we both were like, well, what's going to happen? Because I think at the end of the day, we were saying, I don't know what anybody can do if the court, if the county court says they're in. I don't, I likened it to. If somebody was accused of a crime, go to court, they say your bail set at this much. They post bail, they get to walk. I mean, that's just the way it works. You can't be like, well, no, we think they committed a crime. They have to stay in jail. Right. So once the judge says this is what they're doing, this is what they're doing. I mean, there's no way around this. I don't know exactly what the end game they could be for this. Right. I mean,
well, let's just rewind a second and. Out of the 8 teams in that region in the playoffs, every coach signed it, every head coach except
one,
except obviously Hayfield because they're talking about them, and then Mount Vernon. So it would be Coach Taylor, from Mount Vernon. He was the only name not on there. So every coach
and we don't know what the circumstances was. We weren't made aware of any of this stuff, And as much as people seem to think that you and I are Woodward and Bernstein, we are not. I think we're more Bert and Ernie than we are Woodward and Bernstein.
Yeah, I mean, we're more, Al Bernstein. We like boxing and that kind of thing.
So where was I?
Bert Sugar, and Al Bernstein.
Yeah. So they sent this letter comes out, says they're going to do that, and then going back to what I was saying before about I didn't know where you could go with this. If the law says this is what it is and this is what it is, I mean, this is just kind of where they're at.
Right.
Coach Davis signed because he wanted the players to make the decision. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Again, we don't know anything. We just know.
Did you read? Just read someone's.
Someone just put in there that Coach Taylor didn't sign because he wanted the players to make the decision. Fair. Yeah. And we're not making any any judgment on anybody's actions at all. They all had their reasons for doing things. Neither Coach Dash nor myself are in this situation, so they all made their decisions. But going back to what I said, I didn't know where they were going with this. I don't know how FCPS has any power to kind of overturn the judge. I don't know what that means. And then we hear Fairfax City Public Schools, which is kind of like I really never understood how there's Fairfax City Public Schools, but FCPS runs them. I never really understand how that works. Do you understand how that works? Because I have no.
Fairfax City.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in charge of the facilities and the land.
Okay. So,
but the school stuff is run by the county.
Yeah, I think they rock paper scissors it out. Yeah, lucky. Have fun getting those guys in the room together to do rock paper scissors. I can't imagine that working out too well. But so they come out and then they fire the council who was representing the Hayfield parents, and then they send a letter to FCPS saying that they're disappointed in how this was handled. And so that takes us to today, and that was the news during the day, and we figured that would be all the news we hear until, because it says that they'll make the decision on what they're going to do later on in the week. And when? I mean, we are 48 hours away from kickoff. Right now, we're 48 hours away from kickoff right now.
Yeah, right now.
So, okay, so none of that happened. And then 20 minutes before you and I start get ready to do our regular recording, we see that the superintendent has summoned those coaches to FCPS to discuss. I don't know. I mean, there's some charges leveled. I don't want to get into.
Yeah, that's a lot of that's hearsay. I mean, we just know they've been summoned. They've been called in.
They've been called in King's Landing to go forth.
You can take a guess on that one, just from without even going by any headlines. Just like if they were told to play by their boss, and they want to boycott, then maybe their boss is having a word with them about that. I mean, that from a common sense standpoint.
Yeah. I am curious. You know, I'm going to throw out my good old social studies teacher thing right here. What does that mean for your First Amendment rights? Right? I mean,
well, no one's saying you can't boycott. I mean, we're assuming.
Yeah, but if you're threatening their job or you're threatening other things, like, how does that work exactly?
Well, I think the whole thing is this, right? Again, we're just speculating.
Right.
We're speculating. That's the most important. But one thing that we've been right about a lot of stuff. I think back to the biggest thing we were right about was the key word being recommendations way back when VHSL, everybody was assuming VHSL was putting this punishment when at that time they hadn't really decided anything. Right now, applying common sense, you can't tell these people, you can't boycott. For instance, if I'm a coach of a team in the playoffs and I'm upset about this, I can boycott. Now, I know I've talked to some parents, I've talked to some coaches. Okay? A lot of people don't want them to boycott.
Yeah.
Do not want them to boycott.
Yes.
Now we get to the rub here. So if I'm the head coach and I'm like, well, we're going to boycott because, I just feel like I have to, I got to take a stand here. Then you can boycott. Then your assistant coach takes over, et cetera, et cetera. But for you to declare I'm shutting it down, or they want to play, I think that's the issue.
Yeah, this whole thing is just, I don't know. Makes me sad a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, just
discussing the meeting they had. Yeah, because there were some clips going around social media about a meeting last night. Going to the comments here. Someone said they're discussing the meeting. If they are in fact discussing the meeting, there were some clips going around where some things were said about, maybe some of the higher ups, and some other things that maybe you don't want to say when you're being recorded.
Yeah. And you and I have discussed this a lot working in education. You have to assume that you're being recorded at all times, and so
yeah. And the comment here, I heard most teams will play. They just a ploy to put pressure. I heard that too. I also hear that. I know for a fact certain teams, just kind of signed on to show solidarity.
Yeah.
Right. So show solidarity, but they had no intention on, if it came to it, to boycott. Now that doesn't mean all six, right?
Yeah.
6. That doesn't mean that's all 6. But a few of those teams were like, yeah, we'll go ahead and sign. We'll sign that letter, even though when push comes to shove, we're not boycotting anything. So now that doesn't mean every single person on there. There are some people maybe who felt a little bit stronger than others about that. I don't know.
But I think a larger problem is that when you throw that threat out there and then you back away from it, then what was the point? I mean, to show how upset you are, but yeah.
Because I just know for a fact parents have reached out to us. Parents have, I saw comments from parents in some of these articles saying that's a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, even if we don't agree with what happened, at the other school, our kids, my kid's a senior. I want my kid to play. My kid's not going to have their last game not played because some coach had an ego. And these are comments that parents were saying.
Yeah.
And I get that.
We have a comment. The parents and the kids are the ones who are considering the boycott and brought to the attention of the coaches. My understanding is the kids are the ones who will make the final decision. That's fair.
It very well could be. My understanding was the opposite, and from what we were told.
And right now,
George is being told that maybe some of the kids and parents, and we don't know anything. That very well could be true.
And right now, it is just rumor after rumor after rumor after rumor.
Right. And we're talking about 6 schools here too.
Yeah.
Right. So we can't sit here and say that one parent or one person speaks for every single community member in every single school.
Right. But I guess one reason we came on here is try to dispel anything that's going on, and then luckily, like we have a really good reach in their audience right here who can give us some information on what's going on, which is appreciated.
One thing that I found kind of funny, we had coaches reach out to us from schools that were either eliminated last week in the playoffs or missed the playoffs by a hair.
Yeah,
and their kids and parents are not saying that. They're saying, and the coaches, they're saying, let us in that game. If those teams want to back out, we'll be happy to play. Yeah. And I like that. I like that sentiment.
Yeah.
They're like, hell, these guys want to appreciate what they got. We'll go in there and freaking play. So part of me gets juiced up thinking about that. Like, F it. Let's go there and play. So I get that mentality too.
I will say this as right now, Lake Braddock and Mount Vernon have confirmed they will play on Thursday. Okay. All right. Okay.
Who said that?
Lager Boy 350 said that.
Okay, sorry, I lied. I'm a little later than you are.
Okay, and it says, I think there's so much misinformation out there. How can anyone make a real decision? Yeah, I agree with that too.
100%.
And I know we're going to try to save this for later on, and I think maybe I'll say some more concrete things when we get to this subject later on in the off season. I hope this is my hope. What comes out of this, because this is awful for lots of people for lots of different reasons.
Okay.
I hope that this brings some real change in the rules and the way things are enforced in VHSL and FCP.
Yeah.
This is what I hope this does. I hope this brings about some talk of some real change, because we're kidding ourselves if we think that there has only been one instance of recruiting ever in any high school period. All right, I'll just leave it at that. I think we're kidding ourselves if we're gonna say that. That's not the case. It's happened at other places. Anybody who's been coaching long enough can probably be like, yeah, I know this happened here.
Well, let's have this conversation out then, because the response to that, and let's be open, and any comments are more than welcome. And I think a respectful dialogue on this topic is needed.
Yes.
So anyone wants, and again, respectful dialogue being the key thing. But I'll retort to that, and I'll give you a retort, because we were hearing this from friends of ours who are on either side, all over the county, at schools all over the place, who are on either side of the debate. The response to that comment, what you just said, is, yeah, but, there's a difference between my 4 recruits at my school that I came in and the 20 recruits over there.
Right. That's
the response. So what say you to that response?
So we've talked a little bit of this off screen, off camera before, and I'll tell you this. So every 18 recruits, it's usually 1 to 2 people. That's not an excuse. It needs to stop. Correct. And here's the reason why. So while the teams at the top will recruit 2, 3 guys, maybe, and not all of them. I'm not making all the team recruit, but let's say they do. It really affects teams at the bottom, because what I feel like the teams at the top are feeling right now, or the teams at the bottom feel like when they bring in their 3 or 4 guys. When you're a team that is struggling, you are, and this is a conversation that we had with a friend of ours, and this is kind of what I said. When you're a team at the bottom, and that team that's a little better than you brings in those 3 or 4 guys, it takes what would have been competitive loss, or at least where you're fighting back and forth, into a humiliating loss, because you're already struggling. And then when they there was a school that got a kid who moved to another school. When he left, the year before he left, they were 3-7, relatively competitive in other games. They probably could have been 5-5, 6-4. When he left, other kids followed. They went 0-10 and got their They're bell rung by everybody. So the teams that are near the top can say, oh, well, it's just a couple guys here, a couple guys there. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal to you because you can play with these other teams. The teams that are trying to build their program, that it hurts them immensely because kids don't want to. Kids, for the most part, are front runners, and if you're on a team that is losing kids and then having to play against them and then are getting dominated, your program suffers for years because kids won't come out for football, and so these teams are like, well, it's just a couple kids. It's only, again, it's not a big deal to you. It's a big deal though to the teams below you when things like that happen. So going back to what I said before, is that correct? Every team does not recruit. Yeah, I'm not saying you can argue the team transfers, but recruiting is saying that coaches out looking for kids. But what you have is not every team does recruit. I'm not saying that every team recruits. What I'm saying, though, is that there are coaches who have contact with kids they should not be having contact with.
And sometimes there's a natural pipeline built in place where you don't have to recruit. So now it's semantics a little bit. So, Gavon, not every team recruits by, yes. But at the same time, there's pipelines in place. There's second and third hand where a coach is not doing it, maybe necessarily, but there are kids coming in and transferring in who didn't belong in those neighborhoods. And that's what we're saying. Again, semantics. But the point is, to your point, you were speaking strictly on 2, 3, 4 kids who are from out of district and are, as we're going to say here, fudging where they live, right?
Yeah.
They might have paperwork, but last I checked, that is the argument in this story. They checked out by county rules.
And going back to what I said, but it's next level. But when you're a team at the bottom that is struggling to keep your program together, when a team that you were competitive with brings in 3 or 4 guys, and now you're getting whacked. So, you can say it's apples and oranges, but not to the teams at the bottom. To the teams at the
Jamie, it's not. It's you're a team at the bottom. Look at some of the struggling teams that have gone 0-10, and this, we'll just take in this Region C, that have been going 0-10 year after year after year, and then teams that are getting 3, 4 guys. To your point, the recruiting that's happening, it's not happening at those schools. So let's go 3 or 4 a year times 4 years.
Yeah,
that's 16 recruits over 4 years, and you go up or down, whatever. It's still, and not only is it 0 at those schools, it's actually a net loss because kids are quitting. So now it's negative. Yeah. It's negative 2 plus whatever the number is, 3, 4, 5, year after year after year. So again, this is a rich man's problem. Is what's going on right now. The teams that are getting that have gotten recruits in the past, or some of them are a little upset.
Yeah. So but I just think there needs to be things put in place, and I'll get into this on a deeper level. One. Secondly, the coaches who have outside, whether and I'll talk about all sports, right? AAU coach, travel ball, baseball coaches, they can't be connected to high school high school sports in general. If they have those things,
well, hang on. Now you're talking about some of the things that need to be tightened up. Is that what you're referring to now? Okay.
Yeah. So I think that when you have those kind of things, for example. In California, because it's gotten so bad out there, you have to sign a contract saying that nobody on that coaching staff has been your trainer, your travel ball coach for 2 years. Because if that's the case, then you know what's happening. You can't do that. Also in California, you cannot follow a coach. You can't follow a coach. You're just not allowed to. If a coach leaves a school, you are not allowed to follow that coach. Period. Because you know what the deal is.
Right.
Even if you say, well, they just wanted to go be with that coach, but And
look, part of the issue that's been bothering me about this story, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, all right, is, and someone referred to it, everyone knows what's going on. And I think, I forgot who it was a second ago that said it, but the apples to oranges, everyone does it, but this is, bigger than normal. And like you said, not everyone does it, first of all. You're just forgetting about, because those teams don't matter to the rest of people, right?
Yeah.
So not everyone does it. A lot of teams don't, but they're 1-9 and or 0-10 or 2-8 every year. So no one cares about them. they're actually losing players every year. Some of them don't have programs anymore because their players have left.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep that in mind too. What's bothering me a little bit is that coaches who are recipients of a lot of schools that have disbanded, schools that can barely function anymore because they've left to go to other schools. Some of those coaches, I'm not saying all of them, some of those coaches are out there acting like they don't get that at their school. They don't get 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, whatever the number is at their school. They're acting like they are a school that gets 0 transfers in, 0 recruits ever, and they can't believe this injustice that's happening right now. That's annoying me. It's annoying me. I'm being honest with you. I would actually appreciate it more if some of the coaches who are being very vocal would say what who was that a second? Was that Givon? That said the apples to apples comment, who was it?
Jamie Maltese.
Jamie.
Parlay the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah, I'd respect it more if if the other coaches came out and said what Jamie's saying, and said, "Hey, look, yeah, I know we do it, but this is a little bit too much."
Yeah,
I'd respect that so much more. But if you read some of the articles, if you read the coaches' letter, if you read all this stuff, they're out there acting like it's never happened before at their school, and they're shocked to see gambling here at Casablanca. I mean, and that's bothering me, and I know it's bothering a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So if we're gonna be honest about it, and say, yeah, we only did 3 last year. These guys did 20. Okay, fine, then say that.
Yeah.
But don't act completely innocent. That's driving me bonkers.
Yeah. Something about secondary schools being able to work with kids for 6 years. I don't. Now someone says they can't do that. Work with the middle school kids. I don't know exactly how that works at a secondary school. I've been told. I mean, we don't have secondary schools in California, so it's not like where that goes on. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the rule is exactly here, and maybe you know, or maybe someone in the chat might know. What is exactly the rules on who can contact a middle schooler? At what point are you allowed to talk to the middle schooler? If they're in your pyramid, are you allowed to talk?
Well, what do you mean? In what? Like,
so
you're not going to go on a playground and just like start talking to random, kids. Like,
yeah,
what
but I mean, like, are you allowed to?
You mean out of your pyramid, out of your school?
Well, in your pyramid, so we're at Woodson, right? Could we just go down to Frost and just start talking up to the kids? Is that allowed? Is that not allowed?
Yeah, because I mean, now under the some kind of a organized thing, right? I mean, there's always a meet the coach thing at the middle school.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of middle schools do the intramurals.
Yeah.
And a lot of coaches come in and help run the intramurals.
Okay.
Right. Like in the off season. I mean, a lot of coaches don't have time, obviously, to do that during season. But you can do an intramurals program after school. It's a separate contract. Remember, you're only a contracted coach from.
Right.
That's the other thing.
Right.
That and to get into your point about tightening the belt a little bit, a lot of coaches would agree with this. Okay, start giving us contracts, like real contracts.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that my contract goes from August 1st to whatever, December, whatever it might be. And then you're going to say, hey, by the way, I know you're not under contract. I know you're not getting paid, but you're not allowed to earn a few extra bucks hourly on the side doing X, Y, or Z. Well, no. Let's do a real contract then. So coaches need that too. So it works both sides.
Yeah. Let's see. Coaches secondary schools. So we got there. Yeah, you got to come to Denver school. And Prince William, every coach has to sign a conflict of interest acknowledgement that states that you don't allow your outside club to affect your decisions as a coach for your high school duties. Yeah, but that's putting the onus.
They're still having the problems that they're having.
Yeah, that puts the onus on the coach. I think maybe I'll try to find the CIF. The CIF is our VHSL in California.
Well, my question would be to Doc 703 would be every coach has to sign who are you signing that with? Is that so? You through Prince William?
I think so.
And that means it comes down to Prince William having teeth,
right?
And are they going to use it?
Right.
So I guess also at the end of the day, going back to some of this stuff, you could have all the tightening thing, all the rules tightened you want.
Okay.
At the end of the day, if it's not enforced,
right.
Like obviously at Prince William, it's not being enforced because you think this story's bad. Like, think about it. If coaches wanted to band together in Prince William and all that, they could band together and create a story 10 times the size of this one. Kind of kids, your feeder schools, however, you're not allowed direct contact with the students. throws a clinic. Have to have equal. Yeah, it's through PW. But at the end of the day, if PW doesn't want to, or any county doesn't want to enforce a rule, then nothing matters.
Well, and I think to what you're talking about with the full-time contract. All right, so I have a conflict of interest, but I have an AAU team. I can have an AAU team, and you can't stop me from having an AAU team. And if I have an AAU team and it's done through everything, I mean, it's
you got to tighten things up. And coaches have been saying for a long time that they want real contracts.
Yeah,
that's been a dialogue, and this is all connected. That's the problem. A lot of these things you can't just solve through one avenue.
Right.
It's all kind of connected. So you don't want me to have to work out kids.
Right.
Part of my job is I'm a trainer.
Right.
Because a lot of these guys, by the way, as we know, and a lot of the coaches in this chat know, it's trainers a lot. I'll use trainers, but a lot of trainers are the ones that are helping bring these kids to certain schools a lot of times.
I think that's why California now has the kids sign that they don't have any contact with them, because now they have skin in the game, right? Because if you sign that and it turns out you're wrong and they pull your eligibility, you can say, well, you signed it. So you put the onus on the kid, because the kid, oddly enough, the kids will sometimes be more honest than the coaches, because a lot of times, not a lot of times, but I'll say some of the times, the kids don't know what they're doing is wrong because they're adults who are not telling them what they're doing is wrong. So I think that's the other issue that you're having, is that you have kids sometimes who are like, well, this adult who I trust is telling me I'm doing the right thing. Right. Doing what is in my best interest. So I'm going to do that thing, not telling me, but if you told the parents on the downside, hey, all right, this is what we're going to do, but if this goes haywire, you might lose a year's eligibility. They might be less inclined to do it. So
you're right about that, 100%.
So
now, but again, it's so layered. This whole thing is so layered. It's not so simple.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as some people want to make it be. It really isn't.
Yeah.
But you're right. First things first, right? You can't solve everything in a day.
Right.
The first, you have to have some basic, rules tightened up a little bit. And that goes with, simply stated, the first one you said, if they want to really change things, you can't, relative is different if it's a relative.
Yeah.
But you can't go to a school with your coach, like the California rule.
Yeah. Well,
right. So your coach moves, you can't move with him.
The year I left, the new transfer paperwork came out, and so I talked about what's all in there. Have I talked about it before? Maybe I haven't. So here are all the things that you have to do in order to enroll and play for new school. You have to, and especially if you say you moved, you have to show a new lease. You then have to show the lease of the place that you left. So you have to show that you have vacated the premises somehow. If you own the home, you have to show a sale of the home, or you have to show a lease agreement that you've rented out the home to somebody else. You then have to show the purchase agreement for the house you are in. You have to show a change of address.
I like the utilities. I like that.
Well, hold on. So you have to show a change of address through the post office. You have to show when you went to the post office, they changed your address. You have to show that you changed your driver's license to the new address. You have to show that you have shut off the utilities at your former place. You have to show you've turned on the utilities at your other place. That's a lot of hoops to go through if you're going to.
It's a lot of hoops to go. See, you do that, I'm in. And if they start doing that kind of stuff, you will see it happen still. But you know what? It'll be blue chippers only. No one's going to do all that for random schmo transfer.
The argument that you get is that you are penalizing kids. The only kids who can do it are kids kids from means. Those only kids.
Yeah, or blue chippers that people are willing to bend over backwards to help do something like that. Right.
So that's the only thing. But again,
even with means though, I mean, I'd say you and I relative. I mean, I'm not Edward Stratton, the toy company area. You like that pool, huh? I don't own my own toy company, all right? Like, Ricky Schroeder's dad. But I think we have decent means. All right, fine. I'm not Conrad Bain, living in a high-rise in Manhattan. But I'm not going to do all the things you just said because I want my kid to go to the different school. There's no way. I'd say, yeah, all right, buddy. Yeah, you're staying at that school. That's that. All right? We're not doing all that dumb stuff. So I think anyone with common sense is not doing a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. Now, also, I wonder this. If freedom does not fall off a cliff Is this as big of a deal? Silver spoons.
You like that, George? Yeah, thank you, George. You like that? Our generation, baby.
Yeah.
Our generation. I've seen the numbers, the demographics. I think most of the people on here are our age. They're all people that are between 30 and 50. Now, I've lost my train of thought because I got so excited about Ricky Schroeder for a second. What did you just say?
We were talking about, I don't know. I am.
No, you brought up a good point. You were talking about, about freedom. You said a lot of this wouldn't happen if
freedom wouldn't fall off a cliff.
Yeah, but I disagree. Because guess what? It happens all the time in Prince. We're just talking about Prince William. It happens all the time. Teams are falling off cliffs left and right in Prince William.
Although, so this brings me to another point.
I always wanted that bed too, and the train.
The other thing is not all the Freedom kids went to Hayfield. Did those other schools that those Freedom kids went to, were they investigated?
No, of course not.
The kid, the small kid, Fuga.
Yeah, look, not everyone, without getting into it, freaking Mesa, the informant Mesa.
Yeah.
Without getting into anyone else, no, I mean, of course not. They did not. And if they did, not to this degree.
No.
And there was a lot of other ones. I mean, there was a lot of kids. And not just Freedom.
Yeah.
We know for a fact. There were schools. Hilton's the one I'm going to use. Former Power Hilton.
Yeah.
One of the best teams in Prince William. Look at their roster right now. I think they had 25 kids at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Those kids are going to other schools.
Yeah.
And they're not alone. There's a lot of other schools in Prince William. Kids are leaving.
Yeah. So here we are. Right now, my guess is there's 6 coaches meeting with Dr. Reed. She's Dr. Reed, right?
Dr. Reed, and that's a place I wouldn't want to be, buddy. Getting yelled at. I mean, I don't know, getting yelled at, but in my mind, that's what it is.
Put the drinking glass against the wall like this and been listening.
Someone probably is. Apparently, someone was doing that last night at some of the coaches' meetings. So someone's probably doing that. I mean, what a disaster, and what just drama everywhere.
I would like to dispel this myth. We did not plan all this happening by the first year we started the podcast. We did not do that. We did not instigate this whole thing in order.
Right. We felt the time was right though. People have made that joke and they've been like, "Man, what a year for you guys to start a podcast." Yeah, you're right. We looked at each other and we said, we weren't ready to coach. We didn't want to coach this year, and after coaching together for a while and take a year off, maybe take a couple years off, kind of, we have young kids, that kind of thing, and then everything just blew up.
Yeah, when you're summoned, it is never.
Summoned is not good.
Yeah, you're never summoned for a good thing.
Yeah, sheriff comes out, picks you up, and hands you a summons. You don't like that. That's not good. I'm not saying that happened here. There's a sheriff involved, but in my mind, that's what it is. My favorite weekly TV show. That's right. That's right. Put it on.
Who was the drummer? The first drummer of the Beatles that did not join the Beatles before Ring.
It was Best.
Yeah.
Last name was Best. Not Travis Best.
Derek Law is. Derek Law is the Beatles. It's the Beatles drummer didn't join the Beatles. Good job, Derek.
That's hilarious.
It's fair.
That's really
Fairfax. Don't get me started on the Fairfax Underground.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that place. That place is just bad. It's a cesspool. Now, the sad thing is, there's a couple people who post and they know their stuff, and they'll.
There's a guy who does
good spread.
There's a guy who does weekly a line.
Aaron of two.
Yeah. We are a fan because he helps us out sometimes, and we're trying to figure out what the games are weekly.
And that knows what's going on in every school. That might be God.
Yeah.
Like he knows what's going on at every school. In the county, not in the county, everywhere.
I was going to make a joke, but I don't know how well it'll go over, so I'm going to.
Yeah. And you're pretty buttoned up normally, so if you're doubting it, then
I was going to make a joke.
Probably something that I would say, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Well, you want to sort of review some games? We're already 40 minutes into our show.
Me and my dad love hearing you guys. Hey, thank you, Lager Boy. We appreciate it, brother. Thanks a lot, man. All right, so let's get into it. And if anyone has any more comments about the Hayfield stuff, we want to hear about it. Your thoughts on the whole thing and summons and all that stuff.
I won't. Actually, it wouldn't have been that bad, but
What do you mean? I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to say, but we're going to move on to the games.
No, he doesn't want me to say it. It wouldn't have been that bad.
Don't say it. No, he says don't say it. I have no idea what he's going to say. So I'm kind of curious. Don't say it. Right. If Mesa's doubting himself, he's usually a smart guy, right? Don't stick with your instincts, Mesa.
I'll text you what I was going to say.
Okay, all right. Mesa, look at Mesa. Worried he's going to offend people. What a good guy. Mesa's a good person. All right.
He's on Twitter chat?
Unlike me.
Oh, all right. I did not realize that Coach was on the Twitter. Wait, really?
You're not tied to a network. I know, right?
Oh, he did. He was. Oh, I didn't see it. We had a lot of stuff.
You can respond to it.
These are old, though. I'm trying to say.
Look at Mason. Mason had one job tonight.
Yeah.
Look at the Twitter chat. He's in charge of the Twitter chat, not me, and he blew it. Great job, buddy.
There's not widespread transfers. Trent may be the sole offender, but has Hayfield.
What do you got? Anything?
Coach Overton. Oh, wow. I did not realize he was on there. Oh, dang it. I was like, why is no one talking there?
It's probably still on.
Yeah.
So Coach knows if you're on there.
Matchup sound.
I mean, if you're on there, buddy. We were looking at the YouTube comments.
Yeah, sorry.
We weren't ignoring you. So I guess what is the one that I'm looking at? Is this the YouTube comments? Why is it only YouTube? Why can't they give me the Twitter stuff? That's weak. But, your job is to look at that. Mason's job is to look at the Twitter comments. So please get on there if you see some comments. Anything worth talking about?
It was.
Himself. That's a headliner.
Jesus. Yeah. We're gonna talk about football now. Sorry, we'll talk about football now. I apologize. It was Coach Jeffrey Overton over at Hayfield.
And nothing worth repeating.
Yeah.
Anything at all? I mean, I could always look myself, I guess.
I'm looking at it right now. Jeez, nothing. Fairfax City paid for building the land. Superintendent's threatening to fire coaches for boycotting wrongdoing. Why does everyone keep saying recruits?
I think people use that. Well, that's a good. I mean, you could say that, Mason. I mean, whatever's being said, you could say it.
There's not widespread transfers for football in Fairfax. Maybe not the only sole offender, but no one has behaved like Hayfield.
That's what he said?
No, that's not what Coach Overton said. Some guy, Bernie McShane.
We already addressed that.
And then
we already addressed the comparison of one versus the other.
I did not know Coach Overton was the.
Somebody's. This chat is being sponsored by. I'm not sure actually, but I'll get to that. I'll get to that one later. But the idea that it's okay this many versus this many, we've already addressed our thoughts at least on that. Did Coach O say anything at all? I mean, I thought he mentioned something about you said
he was a quarterback on the 2002 state championship team. I didn't know that.
Hilton?
Yeah, at Hilton.
Was he talking about how Hilton's kind of fallen off?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know where. Sorry. I think they're all gone now. I think they're all gone.
What means all gone? What's all gone?
What they were talking about. So they're responding to what we're saying, but I don't know. I can't remember what we're saying. We've talked a lot for a long time about this. A lot.
Oh, they were responses.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
All right. So. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry I missed out on that. If keep your eye on that though, Mason, because I'm bummed that we missed it. And Coach, if you're still watching, I chime in. I'd love to get into it and talk about it. So keeping to that thought, we're going to kind of talk about these games coming up. Speaking of Hayfield and everybody else, we're going to talk about the Region C Thursday games. Man, we got some big games coming up.
Yeah. And
time to rock and roll, man. Region C game of the week, and I guess you could call it. Well, we'll start at the top, and we'll kind of go our way down. We're going to start right where we started. Let's go Hayfield, Edison, round one.
Yeah, so that's a rematch from a few weeks ago.
Bird Bowl, baby, get it right.
A Bird Bowl again, right? The rematch is a chance for Edison to get back. I can't. Let me see if I can find what was the final score in that game.
And it was 70-6.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a tough draw for Edison, not who they were getting prepared for. These teams all have been practicing for a few weeks on this. Hayfield's a tough assignment. They're loaded. They're loaded all from front to back. From both sides of the football. The 8 seed being the 1 seed is rarely happens. A national matchup. But we'll see. We'll see what the final score is. I'm sure that those kids are gonna be primed up and ready to go.
Yeah, look, it's a rivalry game, right? Fans get into it. A lot of the alumni get into it. It's got a name, okay? First of all, it's got a name. When you got a name, it means something, all right? All right, it does. It means something. You got Bird Bowl. We had the Outback Bowl. We had the Bell Bowl.
Yeah.
We got some Battle of the Bell, whatever that one was called. There's whenever you got a name that means something, okay? Yeah. Now, it's a 1-8. Right. What was the final score in the 1-8 on the other side? Can you get top of your head?
On Madison, it was like 35 nothing or 44 nothing. It was something like that.
44. I think 44-0.
Yeah. Last year, South Lakes. Yeah, but South Lakes was the 2 seed.
On Quantier, a 2-7, my friend.
Yeah.
2-7. Yeah.
South Lakes was the 2 seed.
But according to Mason wants to put in Mason's going to put an asterisk there. They should have been the 1 seed.
They should have been the 1 seed and not playing
Yorktown. Been the 1.
They should have been Yorktown.
They never should have played Yorktown.
They never played Yorktown.
Right. They were undefeated and they beat Madison in the regular season.
Yeah.
You talk about things that need to be corrected.
Oh yeah.
There's one. Look, we're gonna have a whole show. Okay, shows plural when all this is over, talking about ways to improve things at the local level in the county, and then also VHSL.
Yeah.
So no, you're good. We appreciate sports highlights. I just had to correct that because I know that's one of Mace's favorite talking points. In the offseason, he was talking about how they he thought South Lakes was robbed from that 1 seed. Which you made a good point. You went undefeated and you beat the team.
Yeah, that team was 9-1, finished up ahead of you. Yeah,
you're 10-0. Yeah. You beat them, and you're the 2 seed. That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So it's a tough draw for Edison. It would have to be it'd have to be a crazy night. So.
Look at every 1-8 seed. they were all blowouts.
Yeah, all blowouts. Yeah, and Battlefield was a blowout. Yeah, so it's just.
So I just think I don't think it's anything different.
It stands to reason, right? You're the 8 seed, you're the 1 seed. That's why you're the 1 seed, right?
Right. So there we go. All right, game two, second game, going right down the bracket. All right. Because we are staying in Region C. These are the Thursday games. Lake Braddock, your Bruins versus Mount Vernon.
So interesting matchup. Last year, I think we talked a little before. Mount Vernon had some offensive success. The Moret receivers. It was the first time we took notice of him. Right, we talked about him in our preseason preview. He had a pretty good game against them. He's a pretty explosive player. The question is Mount Vernon going to be able to block Lake Braddock's front?
Right.
With a band on the D line, it's a really tough assignment for them to kind of deal with.
Yeah, you always got a puncher's chance, right? If you got a good quarterback, you got a good receiver, right? And you could argue that the weakness of they're playing lights out right now, but Braddock's weakness, I'm just kind of trying to find something for Mount Vernon here, is Braddock's secondary, the young secondary.
Yeah.
And I'm saying young now. We're in week 12. They're not young anymore.
Yeah.
But coming into the season, that was kind of one of the things. And so Mount Vernon, they can protect the quarterback, give him some time, then I'll make some plays. Hit your man Moret down the field. You could have a ball game.
So Mount Vernon runs wing T basically this year. I didn't notice that a lot when I watched their Edison game, and they looked like to me they were in the gun quite a bit. So I haven't watched all their games, with a keen eye. But I think maybe if there are multiple that might help them out against Braddock, trying to prepare for both those things. Also, is Ty Jackson going to play this week? Is he going to be the starter this week? Are they going to start Suris? Jackson played a little bit last week. It's
a good problem to have if you're Braddock.
It's a good problem to have.
Two studs at quarterback.
Yeah.
I do wonder, like if you go with Jackson, who they had declared the starter about, I don't know, it was like week 4-ish, somewhere around there, close to midseason, and then they switched it up. Then he got hurt. They had the surgery. Do you go back to the quarterback? Just philosophy. This isn't even about those quarterbacks in particular, but you now have a quarterback who you've kind of ridden the last few weeks.
Yeah,
he's gotten hot. You're winning. Do you go back to the guy coming off of an injury?
Right. Yeah. Now
let me ask you, head coach Mesa. Now this is not about Braddock's personnel per se.
Yeah.
I just mean philosophy wise. If you're in this situation, do you go back to the quarterback that had a surgery, is healed, and put him back in for this playoff game, or do you stick with the guy that's kind of played the last 4 or 5 weeks?
Well, I mean, he was kind of hot when he went down, right?
For sure, he's a great quarterback.
So you really, I would judge it off of practice. If I thought he's where he needed to be in practice, I'm going to go with whichever player I thought would be the best chance for me to win the ball game, because this is win in advance, right? This is March Madness. There's no series. You can't start one like, okay, well, the next week we'll start the other one. So I'm going to take a look at practice. If it looks like he's fully healed, if he's a full go, I'm going to go with them. And if he's not going well, then maybe you go back to the guy who took you to the region championship anyway, right? But I think you put him in.
Well, like you said, it's a good problem to have.
Right.
It's a good problem to have. Yeah, but again, Mount Vernon, if the running game's not working, like you said, hopefully you can be multiple in this game, and you're having a tough time running the ball early. Now you start throwing the ball, start testing out that Braddock secondary. Now the other thing I will say though, be careful you start throwing the ball too much though, because like you said, they're bringing the pain.
Yeah, they're bringing the pain.
And the man leads the region in sacks.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that's going to be can they deal with them up front, right? I mean, that's going to be the question they're going to answer. And I think for a lot of the national teams that's where we're at, right? Can they deal with, it seems like national teams for the most part don't have big offensive lines. It seems like that's kind of where they might struggle with, especially against Patriot teams where Patriots are just a little bigger. Look like they're bigger. So I think.
I mean, and truth be told, I mean, we saw Hayfield play live, and they were a really good team. I've seen them play several times, but they don't have the biggest line.
No, they're not. They do not. They're not huge.
Their line was bigger last year.
Yeah.
They had bigger linemen last year.
They're long. I think they got some guys who are long.
They are long, but they're not
big.
Road Raiders at all.
Yeah.
So you're right about that, about national. Normally.
Yeah.
All right. Third game here in Region C. I like this one a lot, buddy. This might be the game of the night. Thursday. Right. South County, West Springfield.
Yeah. I mean, the question is, I think we feel like both those teams might be different teams that played in week 3. Week 3, because West Springfield played Hayfield in week 1. They had a bye in week 2, and then they came back to play South County in week 3. I do think that those teams might be different teams now, right? Also, I think we talked about before when we did the quick kind of recap. West Springfield has a brand new quarterback, different kind of offense.
Right.
We'll see how that game goes.
Yeah, West Springfield, the hottest team, right? The hottest team, I think.
Not Westpo?
Next, I'll say they're the hottest team when I get to them.
Yeah.
Very boisterous about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're one of the hottest teams. I think they're playing lights out right now. The quarterback change, the defense is playing lights out. Mark Anthony White. All these things kind of happened at the same time. Mark Anthony White really kind of had an explosive last 4 games of the regular season. And when he's cooking, watch out.
Yeah.
They really have come on.
Yeah.
They really have. And I'll tell you what, we go back. I remember we were at that game week 1 against Hayfield, 48-7 game, I think, final.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. 48-7.
Yeah.
We see teams lose by a lot. West Springfield's a good team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well. Yeah, they definitely after an 0-2 start. Well, actually after 0-2 start, they finished 7-3. Yeah. So that means they went 7-1 for the rest of the season.
And that loss was to AC.
AC, yeah,
AC.
the team that I'm sure a lot of people are like,
yeah,
they're not right
now. West Springfield is playing really good football.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell me I could go in a coma for the next 3 weeks. I wake up and you tell me, oh, you didn't hear West Springfield ended up winning the region there. Wouldn't be shocked one bit.
No, I agree.
Wouldn't be shocked one bit. Now, on the flip side of that, though, South County. Yeah, West Springfield always has a big line. They had a huge line last year, too. I agree. Now, South County. Lost my train of thought. That South County defense, though, they're ferocious.
Yeah.
That D's ferocious, and they got that young quarterback now, and he's athletic, and they were kind of missing that. They were kind of missing now. That I think you got to watch out for South County.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a veteran coach who's been through the wars, so I think that he's going to have them prepared and ready to go, and they're going to be primed up, and this is the playoff time, and South County is known to make a run during playoff time, and I wouldn't expect anything less than them coming out being ultra prepared for this game.
Yeah, it's good. This is going to be a heavyweight. This will be a slugfest.
Although it's another rematch where they kind of have a scouting report. Well, actually, I take that back. Their scouting report may not be as good, especially on their offense, because of the different quarterback.
Right, and it is the you're right. Different scouting report probably. Walrath was more of a pocket quarterback.
Yeah.
The current quarterback who, I don't have the name here, which I should, but more athletic, can move a little bit, create some plays. So different style, and that's going to kind of impact probably how South County attacks it.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, again, that's going to be a good one. I think the other kind of the co-main event, I think, Fairfax, West Potomac.
Yeah, the 4-5 matchup, which a bowl in every region, the 4-5 matchup's been the best matchup, and which it's supposed to be, right? Those teams must be separated by one spot. I don't have the final in front of me from last time, but another good matchup. Is Dom Sanchez going to play? Is he out? Do we know? Is that may make a difference on how this game goes.
Right.
But are they going to be able to deal with the heavy run of Fairfax? With all those backs and as physical as they are, are they going to be able to slow them down? I think that the question is going to be is can they stop that run game? Because if they just get overwhelmed, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, like you said it. I mean, there's some question marks for West Potomac coming to this game as far as at quarterback, and then. You look at Fairfax. I mean, they had some question marks too because they had some injuries at running back, and they had that committee though. This is where it pays to have a committee.
Yeah.
At running back, right? Yeah, you lose one guy, and then all of a sudden, sorry, and I'm going to correct myself here. Quarterback Scott Lewis from West Springfield.
Okay.
I wanted to give that young man credit. He's played great.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks. So Scott Lewis, but yeah, I mean, you had that committee at Fairfax, right? You have Maltese. Moman was playing lights out.
Yeah.
Right. You have Ethan Lynch.
Yeah.
Right. So you have this rotation, man, and it's hard to stop. You get one guy goes down, other guys fill in. They've been able to find guys.
Well, I'd really like to see Lynch run the football. I mean, we were impressed when we saw him running in the off season.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. He's explosive. Murad has kind of come on a little bit. Now they're playing Thursday. They're playing. I was going to get. Actually, that's a good question.
Yeah.
They're playing on Thursday, and that is an issue. The short time span. I don't think it's that much. A lot of rematches. I don't think it's that big of an issue. The bigger issue, I think, and we'll get to this in a second. It's not so much this region. They're gonna. I mean, I don't know if you've seen. They're gonna have nice weather on Thursday, I believe.
Yeah.
Friday, on the other hand, might be cold and rainy.
Yeah. So,
and we'll get to that in a second. But I think it's going to be decent weather on Thursday. This should be an interesting one.
But to talk about, like, specifically regarding injuries, I think that could be a problem, right? If a guy tweaks an ankle, he doesn't have a week to rehab it. He's going to have 3 days to rehab it. And if, my guess is they won't practice. They'll probably film on Friday. Now, is VHSL waiving the Sunday practice rule? Because if not,
you know what?
If you're not,
they should have.
If not, you're talking about film on Friday, practice on Saturday, walk through on Monday. To get ready for a region semifinal and having to essentially do it in 2 days, I mean,
it's a good question. Any coaches on here in the comments, let us know if they waive that and if that was even discussed.
Right.
Because that should have been a point of discussion to give an extra day of practice. Something, anything.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Looking at Thursday's weather, because that matters, my friend. It matters. Yeah. All right. I'd bring out Bob Ryan, but he retired. He got the old almanac. All right. Bob Ryan was a guy, Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame weatherman around here, buddy. Yeah. 50 degrees. So low of 32. So you got to figure probably in the 40s.
Yeah.
Around kickoff. But no rain. No rain. So for Thursday. So
Friday.
So you got that.
They called for like a wintry mix.
On Friday?
Was it Friday? I was watching the news right now. I think they said on Friday might be a wintry mix.
Friday might be a disaster, but we'll get into that when we get into the other games.
It was waived.
Yeah. Look at that. That's fantastic. Thank you, buddy. You know what? The VHSL, look at them. Look at them opening up their hearts, allowing. You got to give credit when credit is due. Yeah. Look, a lot of the higher-ups, we're going to use higher-ups, and higher-ups is everybody. Everybody's the higher-ups. A lot of people erred over these last several months, right? But, that was not an error. That was doing the right thing and opening up letting guys practice on Sunday. So you got to give credit. Easy to bash people, but you got to give some credit when credit is due here.
Yeah.
So, see? No red tape. Who knew it was that easy? I didn't know it was that easy. Someone could just be like, we're declaring you may here on out practice on Sundays. It was that easy all along.
Yeah.
Who knew? All right. So that's going to be a fun game. I'm excited about that one, too. I think those are the two, in Region C, those are the two games of the night. All right. Well, buddy, we're going to move over to Regions B and D.
Okay.
You tell me where to start, my friend. You tell me where to start.
Let's go to Region B because I know how much you hate the Prince William and Stafford County people.
That man is lying. I love Prince William and on those areas.
You hate him so bad.
I want Roy Rogers.
You hate him so bad you made fun of Rockridge because you thought they were in Prince William.
When I want Roy Rogers or Cookout, I go to your neighborhoods. So. I love Cookout. I'm a Cookout guy.
Okay, go ahead.
I petitioned for a Cookout in Fairfax. All right. Let's get to also Christmas. Well,
actually,
you got none of that.
Fairfax
Fairfax sucks for food.
In Region B, we can only talk about one team because we've only the other two teams we have not seen.
Look, but we know a heavyweight when we know a heavyweight, and Colonial Forge is a heavyweight.
Yeah. So Stafford,
a heavyweight. Yeah. Yes. So that's a hell of a game. Now I looked at opponents. So I'm going to go by opponents that we know.
Okay.
Right? And how have you looked at it? Look at Colonial Forge. And Colonial Forge played AC.
Yeah.
And they played an early AC team. Was
that the one that was close for a little while?
It was not a blowout at all.
Yeah.
So that score, I'm going to bring it up right now for you because you're not the only one who can get stats around here, buddy. You know what? I got a computer too. All right. So it was close for a while. Now they pulled away and they won 35-14.
Yeah.
This is an early AC team though, still finding themselves.
Okay.
That tells me, okay, they beat Patriot. They did beat Patriot in a shootout a week later. Okay.
Okay.
They lost to Stafford when they played them last time. They lost to Stafford in a close game.
Okay.
Okay. Trying to find any other common opponents of teams that we have covered here. And this Woodbridge. They beat Woodbridge by 1 point. What this tells me is that Colonial Forge is not quite the team of Stafford. I think Stafford's going to come into this game. I think Stafford's the favorite. They're the MGM favorite.
Okay.
All right. And I think Stafford has an edge.
When they played each other, what was the score of that game?
It was a 4-point game, 35-31.
Okay.
Okay. Now, opponents that we've seen in regions, at any other districts our way, okay, be it Prince William, Arlington, Alexandria, Fairfax, etc. Nobody for Stafford.
Okay.
Nobody. They didn't play anybody. Okay. So there's that. So there's no common opponent that we could talk about. Actually, they played Colgan.
Okay.
Sorry, they played and they beat Colgan 35-0.
Okay.
But I think Stafford has the edge, so I'm gonna predict Stafford, and you know what that means? That means Colonial Ford's going to win.
You're making that call. All right, you went through all.
I have no idea what I'm talking
you went through a
about.
lot of gymnastics to get to Colonial Ford is going to win. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong team. All right, folks, I'm going to have to go ahead and when I went through this, they're not playing. They're playing North Stafford.
That's what I meant. I meant North Stafford. Did I say? What was I saying? Stafford or North Stafford?
Stafford.
I said Stafford.
Yes.
I meant North Stafford.
Yeah, so did I.
No, man. I thought I was the one. You didn't say anything. I was the one talking.
Yeah.
And I meant North Stafford when I said it. And like I said, as far as common opponents go, that still kind of holds. All right, that still kind of holds.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find North Stafford's.
It was a 10. It was a 10. They beat Colonial Forge by 10 last time, 27-17.
Okay. Yeah, see.
But they lost to Stafford that Colonial Forge just beat. So, I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows? This is what happens when teams that we don't cover play.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but there are two teams that we did cover that would be pretty interesting.
Who's that?
The other semifinal matchup.
Oh, yeah, sure. No, but the one thing I did want to actually talk about was North. I did want to look at North Stafford's games. They played. No. Yeah, they played Woodbridge, but that was last week. And by the way, they almost lost that game.
Yeah.
They almost lost that game to Woodbridge.
Yeah. Well, they had to come back.
You were a big Woodbridge fan.
They had to come back. They were down 14.
All right. Now let's get to it.
Yeah.
Teams that we've watched a lot this year. Teams that we're going to get to Patriot, Battlefield. This is the battle of the one.
Both at one point were number one in the dash ratings.
I was about to say, these are two teams that were one in the power rankings for a good part of the year. I had them over Hayfield.
You did have them over Hayfield.
Where's Jeff Overton now? Come make some comments.
I think he's gone.
Because now he'd have some fun.
Yeah.
Now he'd have some fun. Now he would say, oh, yeah, you're picking them over. Look, I had them one. He busted my chops about this all year. I had Patriot at one for a long time. I had Battlefield as one for a long time. So they're going at it. There was a rumor that maybe some of the guys are going back for Patriot. I don't know if that's true. That was a rumor that someone sent to us. We're not Woodward and Bernstein. We're Al Bernstein. So I don't know if that's happening.
Yeah, and we were told that Callum O'Shea is out for the year. I haven't found anything online that has confirmed that. But if he's out and those kids come back, ooh. But, man, that Battlefield defense is good, isn't it?
The Battlefield defense is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
I can't remember seeing a team that was that loaded. People talk about Hayfield having this all-star team. I think Battlefield's defense is a freaking all-star team.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about recruits.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about players on a team.
Yeah.
Just people get sensitive about stuff. I'm not talking. I'm talking football.
Yeah.
That team is loaded. They got all-stars, studs at every level.
Now, but the question is, where is their offense going to come from? Right? Where is their offense going to come from?
That's the big issue. But you know what? If you got a defense that good, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate Sports Highlights saying that he enjoys listening. I appreciate that.
What are we going to do from January through June? Oh, we got some stuff planned.
Oh, we got things lined up, baby.
We got stuff planned.
But I'll tell you what. You got a defense that good, you shut them down, they'll create offense. They'll create opportunities for the offense.
Yeah.
They really will.
Well, and our understanding was that O'Shea went down early in their game against Patriot at the end of the year, and they still dominated them.
Right. Now, without a few guys at Patriot, now, if some of the rumors are true, like you said last week, is Daniel LaRusso going to fight?
Yeah.
If Daniel LaRusso gets the thing, the Miyagi healing thing done, and he comes back.
Yeah.
Change the name and do basketball too.
Unfortunately, neither myself nor Coach Dash know very much about basketball.
All 3-pointers, baby, all 3-pointers.
If you want really uninformed basketball takes, then yes, we'll do that. But
just give hot takes on basketball.
Yeah.
But no, I really now Patriot now Knudsen is a stud.
Yes.
You got a quarterback like that. We said you got to punch your chance. Now we get back to the weather.
Yeah.
We get to the weather on Friday. Cold, rainy.
Yeah.
Right about now, the Fairfax guys are going, why can't we get that weather? They love that weather. But I don't know if this weather plays into your Knudsen's hands.
But I would argue if it's cold and rainy, that plays right into Battlefield's hands.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it plays right into Battlefield's hands.
I mean, and it's going to be just the crappiest weather we've seen in 8 months.
Yeah, and especially if it's a wintry mix. Ooh,
yeah, it's good. Look, let's be honest. We've had great weather.
Yeah,
I mean, warm weather going back to April or May.
Yeah.
So we're talking about 6 months now. This is the coldest weather that we'll have had in 6 months.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough. You can't simulate that. Do the coaches have the bucket of water out there? Are they in practice right now with the bucket of water, dunking the balls in there? I mean, I want to know if any players are listening, any coaches. Are you guys, the guys playing on Friday, not the Thursday guys, but are the Friday guys simulating this cold weather?
Yeah.
I know you can't, not the temperature, but you can get the wet balls out. The guys haven't been holding wet balls in about 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah, should be some good stuff.
I'm getting excited. I want to go coach. We're going to go show up in some gear. The espresso's hit me right now. We're at what? How many people watching right now? We're at 600 people.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Let's go coach.
Yeah.
Can I just take over our team now?
Possibly.
All right. Well, we're not done, buddy. We're not done.
Okay.
Because now we're coming back east a little bit.
Okay.
Come back east, and we're staying in the neighborhood. All right. We got. God, what a game. These games are freaking phenomenal. Madison at Westfield, buddy. Madison at Westfield.
Yeah, so I mean, a rematch of a game where Madison is up in the fourth quarter. Is Madison the one team? I'm sorry, is Westfield the one team Madison did not want to see? Not that they're afraid of anybody. I'm not saying they're afraid.
No, I know what you mean. Matchup wise, it's not about being afraid.
Like, these guys,
right. It's not the best matchup for them.
Yeah. Well, they know like it's gonna be a war with these guys. You know, this is a team they're probably like, not these guys. Not, you know, we don't have to. You want to get the easiest path. As much as teams are like, oh, you want the easiest path you can to get to a championship. I mean, let's be honest. There are no moral victories in the playoffs.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No. Now, getting to it though. Let's break it down here. Madison, next to Battlefield, that's the best defense out there.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are two elite defenses, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the 85 Bears and the 2000 Ravens we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? And I'm not just talking nonsense. Well, I do talk a lot of nonsense, but I think that's legitimate. These are two elite level defenses that we've seen in this area in a long time.
Yeah.
And so now you got this Madison defense. Now, I think the weather's going to favor Westfield, though.
Yeah.
It's going to favor that Westfield offense.
Yeah.
They're going to come running right at them.
Well, I mean, but Madison is known about running the football, right? And they have the best back in their region for them, right? Normally, if you have the best offensive player and the best defense out there, you're normally queued up for a win, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a. I don't know. I don't think I'm saying anything controversial here. I don't know if I'd call him the best back necessarily. The best player.
Best player. Okay.
He's a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Slot receiver, right? You talk about nicely.
Yeah.
Right. Does everything.
Yeah.
I think the one thing I'll say though, going back to the last matchup, I mean, remember the catch? Remember the nicely catch in the back of the end zone?
Yeah.
They had to beat him in the air.
Yeah.
They beat him in the air.
Yeah.
Are they going to be able to beat him in the air when it looks like the frozen tundra? And I'm making the weather sound like it's going to be 10 degrees now and like in a blizzard. It might end up being not even that bad. But again, if the weather is bad, we've had a drought. I mean, if the rains are coming and it's 40 degrees out, it's going to feel like the frozen tundra.
Yeah. Well, it's
and all of a sudden, maybe they can't hit that deep ball.
It's going to feel the cold felt all year, But does that Madison defense dig in and is able to put the brakes on? So, and it should be. It probably is the game of the week. Those two teams.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal game.
Probably the game of the week. Those two teams.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, and then you got on the other side, and they do have a good quarterback too at Westfield, and Kennedy Duda though. Kennedy Duda has been the guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, in that running game, that Vossler running game.
Yeah.
He's been waiting for this.
Yeah. So here's the matchup, right? Here's the matchup. The rematch of the what essentially was the Concord Championship.
Yeah, look, you can say it. I'm going to go ahead and say something controversial, and it might be seen as a dig. No, I mean nothing bad by to W&L. Love W&L, love the W&L community, all that stuff.
You currently are cohabitating with a W&L alumni.
I am. That's why. Proof I married a W. I love W&L so much I married one of their alums. Okay, it's a good point. Now that being said, and we talked about the late great Shirley MacLaine, and all the alums that they've had that illustrious high school. That being said, I think this is not just a hot take. I think this is the region final. I think Madison Westfield is the region final.
Said you don't think W&L can hang?
Oh, look at that! Someone's gonna call me. I'm not. Look. Now I start doing the moonwalk, Fritz. I'm doing the moonwalk. Not saying I don't think W&L can hang. Not necessarily. But I kind of am. That I know they've gotten disrespected all year. I'm going to say this: people have disrespected W&L all year, and I've been talking about the mad scientist and the offense all year long. I do question though. That's a fair comment, Fritz. It's a fair comment. I do wonder though: has W&L seen a defense like this?
Right.
Have they seen a defense like Madison? Have they seen an offense like Westfield's?
Right.
It's going to jam it down their throat. And it'll keep that prolific offense off the field. I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Although I
don't want to get ahead of myself.
This with from the comment about I think W&L I think they can beat Madison too. Sure, they can beat them. I think so too. But I think if we were to go to the Monopoly MGM, Madison would have you'd have to give some points to take Matt. You would get some points if you took W&L.
Yeah, but that's fair.
You're
that's
right.
Fair to say.
W&L's been doubted all year, right? Neither you nor I picked W&L to win the to win the Liberty. So they've been proving everybody wrong all year. So
yeah, no, they have.
And luckily, we're in the playoffs. This is not a mythical national championship. You're gonna get a chance. Well, I guess we should get into the next game.
Yeah, we'll get to the next game in a second. This is the headliner. This is the game to watch. But I do think Madison Westfield is going to be a freaking war.
Yeah.
It's going to be a war.
I think so.
All right. Now, get into the other game. All right, which I think is going to be just as good. They do. They W&L special. Here they are. W&L versus Langley. We got a rematch. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's the contrasting styles between W&L and Langley. You know what? W&L's defense is physical, man, and they play really well. And what was the final of that game? Do you have the final offhand? What the final was for that W&L Langley?
A W&L Langley?
Yeah.
No, but I can find out for you real quickly. I'm pretty handy at this stuff.
Actually, am I fast on this? Actually, my computer's so slow right now because of streaming. Like it takes forever for me to pull stuff up.
I got you. I got it right here, buddy.
What was the final last time they played?
A Langley game. It was a relatively close game, 28-14.
Yeah, so I mean, it should be an interesting matchup between the two. Contrasting styles. 28-14, and that might be the lowest. At the lowest, other than what did W&L score against Herndon? What was the final in that that game? Do you know?
I'm glad you brought that up. They won 28-18, but that game was tied going in the fourth quarter.
So the two lowest scores in their district play came against them and against Herndon. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's gonna be a pretty good game, but I like W&L in this game. But Coach Potter's done a fantastic job there, and we'll see if they can keep this thing rolling. Really interesting though is the fact that again we have matchups of two teams both from the same district.
Yeah, that's rematches all over the place, right? All over the place. Now I'm going to say this. All right, I don't talk in hyperbole or any of that stuff. All right, ever. I think Langley, and this is kind of the 1B. I think that the second best game of the weekend. I think Langley can pull the upset off here. So I guess I'm double trouble here on W&L. I think Langley's quarterback play is outstanding. I think Sandberg's amazing. I think he's a really good quarterback.
No.
Only a junior, too. That's scary. Thank you, Fritz. He's outstanding. I think that's going to be an issue. I think the Ronk at running back is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
They're going to try and possess the ball, keep the ball out of the hands of the mad scientist. Yeah, Cole Sandberg. The mad scientist over at W&L. I know Bobby Ludwig is drawing it. Right now, he's sitting there at a restaurant. Him and his wife they ordered a meal. He's got his napkin out, and he's drawing up plays on the napkin. And his wife is saying, honey, we just came out to eat. He's like, I got one more play I got to write down. The man is always writing stuff down.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a key part of the game, right? Can Langley keep W&L's offense off the field and keep the time of possession going? I mean, that's going to be the name of the game right there.
If I'm Langley, other than obviously your own film, obviously that game that it was a relatively close game. I'm watching, but I felt like because we watched that game, I felt like W&L had that game pretty much in hand for a good part of it.
Yeah.
Other than my own game, I'm watching that Herndon game.
Yeah.
Herndon's D made life miserable.
Yeah.
For W&L's offense in that game, for a good part of that game.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I mean, another great rematch, right?
Yeah, so I think Langley's got the tools. But W&L, you got Abramson, right?
Yeah.
Is he player of the year? I think he's player of the year in the district.
I think he might have been, yeah.
Offensive player, one of the awards.
I believe. Oh no, he wasn't. I was going to say, I thought he was on all Hitches player of the year in the Liberty, but he was not.
I forgot who we gave it to.
No, we gave it to the Ronk. Did we give the Ronk?
No, we did not give it to the Ronk. We gave it to Abramson.
You gave it to Abramson? Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe we did give Abramson. I don't remember.
Now you got me doubting.
Yeah.
And when you do that, I'll doubt myself really easily, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, I do want to get that right because I think it's important. You don't want to be wrong.
John Molesta.
But I think
John Molesta?
No, oh, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, he got it. Thank you. The receiver. Yeah. He got, not ours. He got the,
he got the one in the
region award. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. We did give it to Abramson.
He was playing the Liberty. Yeah, for the region, but not for us.
Yeah. No. For us. Oh, here we go. I got it right here. Thank you. I wrote it down. So there's just a little time. I'm a guy who, Matthew Abramson. Yep. And on defense, we gave it to Braden Humphreys in that region. Or in that district, sorry. So in that district, yeah, we gave it to Abramson. So you can count out a lot of guys. Hey, Isaiah, how you doing there, buddy? You can count out a lot of guys, but you can't count out the All Hitches Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Okay. Brought to you by Celebrity Deli, mind you. Look, I tell you what, this is also a good game.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about weather with this game. Weather, in my opinion, is gonna favor Langley and the Ronk.
Yeah.
And sorry, not Abramson, but also Cole Sandberg, who could be a dual threat quarterback. Now you got the dual threat quarterback, and you have the Ronk. I think, man, I can't show my face at my wife's W&L reunion. I can't show my face at W&L ever again.
Isn't her 10-year union coming up? Isn't that her 10-year union coming up?
Here, look at that. I'm gonna tell her you said that. That's fantastic. Isn't it like 35 or something?
Oh!
Something like that. No, shoot, that's not what I said. She's not listening. There's no way.
Coach Dad pissing off his wife like nobody I've ever known.
It's an art, my friend. It's an art.
I mean,
that's why I live down here. I live down here in the man cave.
If that's what you want to call it.
Yeah, but look, weather for this game, when we talk about an offense like WNL, prolific offense, all that stuff, you got to worry about rain. Yeah. Now, we said it last week. The unsung hero for WNL was the defense.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. Can they step up? Defense. Right. Defense plays, man. Defense plays.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I like WNL's defense. See, look at Fritz. Yeah. We're gonna have Fritz. Fritz gonna be our guest on the show, maybe.
Let me see what's up with Isaiah. Isaiah's my guy. I like Isaiah. Yeah.
I like Isaiah too.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
Good dude.
All right.
Now, look, so we got into it, and now what I do want to talk to you about here, but I do, and I'm glad we talked about all the Hayfield stuff and all the coaches. I'm glad we addressed that early in the show. We were able to kind of get to football.
Yeah, we talked a long time, man. We're almost at an hour and a half.
But real talk.
Yeah.
And we talked football for a good portion of this.
12 touchdowns. Wow, I did not know that. 12 touchdowns the entire season.
That's a good stat.
That's pretty impressive.
Now, I like to see that side by side with Madison and Battlefield's the one.
Battlefield hasn't given up more than 7 points in any game.
And the problem with Hayfield is that outside of
Riverdale Baptist,
South County, Riverdale Baptist,
Chantilly with them.
Springfield, so half the game.
Yeah.
But then again, that's 4 games, right?
Right.
We just say 4.
Yeah.
I mean, how many teams have 10 tough games?
Very few.
Yeah. Although Woodson.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Woodson statistically
8 playoff teams.
Woodson's weakest game.
They played 8 playoff teams.
Right, the weakest opponent statistically was AC.
Yeah.
Who you and I are huge fans of. Huge fans of, and thought they might have gotten gypped from an 8 seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's your weakest team you played?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the inequity of the way they do matchups here in the off season. That'll be one of our topics.
What's the talk? Brought to you by Hamrock's Cafe.
Brought by Hamrock's Oyster Bar, not the Blue Oyster Bar from Police Academy. Hamrock's Oyster Bar, Fairfax City. Great oysters. It's one of my spots. I did want to talk about one thing with you. You don't know I'm going with this, but before we leave, because everyone loves it, right now, yes or no. Well, it's not a yes or no question. I want you to give me your region predictions. The region game.
I mean, like who's going to play in the region title game?
Who's going to play for the region title right now in this show?
I mean,
because next time we do a show, we're going to know one of them already.
We know 2 of them.
So there you go. So I want your region title matchups. Right
Madison in D.
Madison.
I mean, I'm really boring, so I'm just gonna go chalk because I mean that's who I believe. I mean, it'll be Hayfield and Lake Braddock in C, and then it'll be Battlefield and who's on the other side? Battlefield and actually
North Stafford or Colonial Forge.
I'll go. Actually, no, I'm gonna go North Stafford. So that'll be the one team I pick that's not going chalk. Is gonna be Colonial Forge.
Okay. You went North Stafford.
No, I went Colonial Forge. Colonial Forge was not a 2. Colonial Forge was the 6.
Okay. All right. My predictions. What happens in Region C if teams boycott?
We don't know.
Ben, come on. Don't be negative Nancy in here. We got a lot of positivity going right now. Look,
we don't question. Actually. The answer is we have no idea.
Yeah, because not all teams are going to boycott. We had it here. Someone already said, "Look at that! Sports Highlights loves the Blue Oyster Bar reference. Who doesn't love a good Police Academy reference? Everyone loves Police Academy. Look, what happens in Region C if teams boycott? Like you said, we don't know, and because within that it could be complicated.
Yeah.
Because not all are going to boycott. I'll make this proclamation right now. that even if there is a boycott, it's not going to be all those teams, all 6 teams that sign that thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to be all of them. So that'll screw things up even more. I think it's going to go chalk, though. I think I agree with you, especially with the threat of teams backing out.
Yeah.
Then it'll probably go chalk even more. So I'll go chalk in region C with Hayfield, Braddock. Although Fairfax, I predicted them. Remember that?
You
Way
did.
back when?
They were your dark horse.
And if Fairfax, you better not back out, you son of a gun. Actually, I just saw someone on Twitter, and it was either a Lion coach or a Lion parent. And
lying?
I hate when Twitter refreshes before you actually refresh it yourself.
Wait,
and then you don't get to
see. Did you
see
say Lion coach or Lion coach?
Lion, like Fairfax are the Lion.
Okay.
So but I don't know who it was. I don't know coach, parent. I don't know what it was. But they said something along the lines of, we're not backing out. We're not free. I like that. So, because you know where I stood, and I'll answer that question, Ben. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I thought Fairfax had a chance because of that power running game. And if you get bad weather, you get that weather that I'm talking about, and you get a 30-degree day, and it's cold, and it's rainy, and it's 28 degrees, all of a sudden, Fairfax has a shot at anybody.
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, so, they did last year.
Which is why I'm going to be upset. I'm going to show up at Fairfax complaining if they boycott. I'm going to boycott the boycott.
Yeah.
Can you boycott a boycott? Is that possible?
You could, right? But does that mean you're playing?
I don't know. It just says "go nobody" on my sign.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. So let's not have a boycott. I think if the weather hits right and the elements are correct, I think it's always anybody's game when you're talking about quality football teams.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. Region B. All right. Let's have some fun here. I'm going to say Patriot in the upset over Battlefield.
Okay.
Daniel LaRusso's going to fight. These guys come back. They've been gone. They're healed. They come back from this injury or suspension, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And now they're back, and they lead Patriot to the unprecedented upset over this Battlefield, the vaunted Battlefield D. There's my prediction. And then I'm going to take Colonial Forge over North Stafford. I agree with you on that. And then Region D, I'm going to go Langley.
Ooh, Langley in the upset.
Versus Westfield.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Langley versus Westfield. Wow.
All right.
I know, Fritz. What I said made no sense. There was no logic to what I said. I was half of what I was trying to go against Mesa. You were typing up a lot there. Who do you like? You look like a young Murder She Wrote the way you were typing. Who are you responding to?
I was just. We'll talk later.
Talk later.
We'll talk later.
Yeah. All right. Jeez. Look. Mace's all cryptic. All cryptic. Mace.
We'll talk later.
That's son of it. We'll talk later. You mean you don't want to have a conversation in front of the whole world?
I was. Never mind. I had another comment I was going to make, and I.
Mason Mason's just throwing haymakers tonight, Mason.
Nope. I was contacting Santa, telling him I've been a good boy this year, and that.
Well, you actually are very respectful. I did. I went Langley in that one too. I just think the weather. I think the weather's going to play. Now, if the weather ends up being nice on Friday night, then what the hell do I know? But I'm a Topper Shut guy. I'm a Bob Ryan guy, and I think I think the weather's going to be kind of crappy.
Madison regional final.
Yeah, I mean that's chalk. It's a Mesa style. That's chalk.
Yeah. Chalk
it up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, buddy, what a show.
Yeah, hour and a half. I think this is as long as we've gone.
Hour and a half. For old time's sakes, we went long. Now, if any of you guys listen to the shows on Apple or Spotify, we do tend to I break them in half because the Believe Network pretty much told me to, and everyone's got a boss. Just like the guys who were getting yelled at. I get yelled at by the Believe Network, buddy. I get yelled at by the Believe Network, and they said you need to cut it in half. 1.5 hours is too long. So you'll notice that it's different numbered than the YouTube show. So just in case anyone was wondering about that, we got a lot of viewers right now, over almost 800. I do want to say we don't have 800 subscribers on YouTube or on Apple or Spotify. So if you're listening to this right now, I implore you, please, can you subscribe? Is there any way? In the nicest way possible. If you could subscribe on all of our platforms, it would make a world of difference to us. It would brighten up my day a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, my wife's yelling at me for saying it was her 40th high school reunion coming up.
Why can't you just subscribe? He's a good boy. Just subscribe.
And the sports highlights, just real quick, I wish WNL had more support. I agree. There's a bias. I'm going to tell you what that is. You know, you always hear in like the pro sports, there's the anti-West. Mason knows the anti-West bias. Everyone's about New York. Everyone's about, New York teams, all that stuff. There's a little bit of that here. I'll admit, and I don't mean on our show. I mean in this area. There's a little bit of a bias against the Arlington teams. It's a very small county. And there's a bias against the Prince William teams, a little bit outside of. I think the Fairfax teams, get a lot of coverage. My God, look at them. They're full of drama, right? Yeah. But I think the Fairfax teams, hey, thank you, Fritz. I think the Fairfax, and I say Fairfax teams, I mean like the greater Fairfax County area. They do get a lot of the eyes on them. And I think that's the way it's kind of always been, Right. So, but that's probably why there's a little bit of that WNL bias. I agree with that. I think Alexandria has that bias against them, I think. And I think the PW team. The Stafford teams definitely do. I think Mesa would agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
The Stafford teams definitely. Yeah. We appreciate that. And so, again, if you get on there and just subscribe on all the platforms. And the Apple, apparently in that world, we've been very modest about this stuff. We don't push it. But, comments, positive comments.
Yeah.
That stuff goes a long way. When you're rating a show. I was never a big podcast guy, so I'm kind of learning about this stuff as I go. But if you can, get on there and give us the 5-star or 4-star, like an Uber driver, right?
Yeah.
Give us the Uber rating. Yeah. Give us the 4-star, 5-star. Subscribe on all the platforms. We'd appreciate that. That's something, we probably don't say enough.
Yeah.
We probably don't say enough, and I mean to. And then we get off the air sometimes like, oh man, we had a platform of 1,000 viewers just now, and I didn't mention anything about subscribing. So if you can get on there, please do. Arlington has gotten so. I feel like Arlington's kind of had a revival though. In their, I don't know about softness, but in terms of their football programs and a lot of their sports. Yorktown won a lacrosse title not too long ago, and now you look at WNL going 10-0. I think you guys have had a revival.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. Mason, what game are you leaning towards going to on Thursday night?
On Thursday?
If you got to go to a game, which one would it be? Let me ask you that.
I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I mean,
your boss is going to tell you got to go to. I'm going to yell at you and tell you got to go to a game. Your other boss is going to tell you, no, you're not, sir. But what game? Pick a game. Thursday. That's easy. It's only 4 of them. I think you're partial to West Springfield.
Yeah, probably West Springfield, South County, probably the one.
I agree. I think that's the game. I think West Springfield, South County is just always that's a heavyweight battle. It's a heavyweight battle. Give me a game on Friday night. A little bit bigger.
Come on. There's one game to go to. I mean, there's one game that stands out. It's Westfield and Madison.
Westfield. Well, we might need to reach out to the incomparable, the great John Kenny. Don't know if he's listening. He tends to listen to the show because he'll text me every once in a while when I do a misspelling or something on Twitter. He'll be like, you spelled something wrong. So, John Kenny, we might be reaching out to you about heading over. And if the weather's bad, we're going to request our own all Hitches tent.
Yeah.
With our logo on the tent. All right?
Yeah.
I know you got plenty of money over there in Madison. You can probably get us some good food, too. A lot of good restaurants over there in Madison. All right. Well, looks like it's sad to say, but it's time to go. 8:30. Otherwise,
I thought it was like 10.
Yeah, our bosses are going to yell at us. We got bosses too,
Yeah.
And the boss is going to yell at me upstairs. I didn't even eat dinner. We came on here early.
Yeah, we did.
I didn't even eat dinner. I had a big lunch, but I didn't eat dinner. So that's that. Some things come first, and sometimes we put the importance of football above eating dinner. You got to respect that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any parting words before we go, Mason?
No, man. I mean, excited to see some football. Hopefully we just get back to football. That's what I hope. But we'll see. It seems like every day I think that's going to die down, and then it does not die down. So.
No, you're right. And what I'm dreading for is something happens that calls for another emergency live show. I don't want to do it. I want these next day and a half to go very smooth.
Yeah.
And quiet.
Good luck with that.
I know. But I hope it does. And Thursday games can play out, and we can just stop worrying about this nonsense. And then let kids play some football.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, sir. We appreciate that. Wexter, thank you. So yeah, I hope we could just watch some football on Thursday and move on from a lot of the negative, the negative stories and all that stuff. But we will go live if something happens. If there's any changes, anything drastic, we'll go live and bring it to you and talk about it. Other than that, we won't be going. Our next show will be our weekend show where we kind of recap these games.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll go Friday and recap the Thursday games and then go.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's a good call. You know what? So we'll try and go Friday, or maybe we go live Thursday night.
Yeah. Oh, no, about Thursday night.
Huh?
No, about Thursday night. Maybe late on Thursday night?
Yeah, bedtime, buddy. Come on.
What do you plan on taking off again?
You know what? You son of a gun.
Yeah.
Outing me.
Yeah.
Ferris Bueller's day off. Coach Dash's day off. Happy volley days to you and yours.
Happy volley days.
Happy volley days.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, we will see you guys on Thursday night or Friday to recap the Thursday games. Until then, Coach Dash, Coach Mesa, see you next time on All Hitches.
See ya.